Now, Representative Steve King is convinced that millions of people illegally voted in the 2016 election. Now, in an interview with MSNBC's Hallie Jackson on Tuesday, Steve King responded to Trump's claim that there were between 3 to 5 million illegal voters in the election. Now, that is something, of course, that they have zero facts and zero evidence to back up. Now, despite that, King is so sure that there was widespread voter fraud in the election. And why? Well, it's because his calculator told him. He pulled out his calculator and he did some calculations. In fact, let's take a look at some of that interview.
Two sources are telling NBC News that at a reception at the White House last night with President Trump and members of both parties in Congress, in the first 10 minutes or so, he brought up this idea that, as he says, 3 to 5 million illegals, people who were not legally voting, is what prevented him from winning the popular vote. When you hear that, what goes through your mind? Let's be clear, that's not true. There's no evidence that that exists. So why would the president be talking about this, and does it bug you?
I hadn't heard the 3 to 5. I heard the 3 million. But there is data out there that is sample data from certain counties, 2 counties in Virginia, for example, and other counties scattered around the country. And I took that article just when I first saw it come out a couple of 3 months ago, and did an extrapolation calculation on how many illegals could have or could be voting in the United States. The number I came up with off of that extrapolation was 2.4 million. So it's plausible. The number 3 million sounds like it's a plausible number to me.
The fact checkers have knocked that down.
Well, sometimes the fact checkers have a political agenda, and I don't want to have a whole term about alternative facts. But I can say I read those facts from those sample counties, and I thought, I wonder what that could mean for America. Got out my calculator, ran the numbers. I came to 2.4.
2.4. Again, I whipped up my calculator and took facts that were debunked, and I came up with 2.4 million. That's actually less than the 3 to 5 million, but where's he getting his numbers? Look, here's the thing, right? He also says, I believe it's plausible. It's very plausible that this happened. I'm not saying that it happened, except that I'm saying that it probably happened. But again, no proof. I also believe it's plausible that you're an idiot, or that you have an agenda and cannot actually back up your assertions with facts or evidence, because there isn't anything. I mean, to think about it too, millions of undocumented immigrants, right? People who are fearing deportation, you think that they would actually go and sign up to vote? That's ridiculous. There's no evidence. In fact, if you're going to say, yeah, but they would vote for Democrats. Really? Why would they? Why would they vote for Democrats when President Obama, a Democrat, has deported more of them than George W. Bush, a Republican, had? Obama's the deporter in chief. Just saying. Now, in fact, there is a New York Times survey of election officials that happened in all 50 states, and it found that there was no documented incidents of voter fraud in 26 states. And the 8 additional states reported 1 case each. That's 8 people. Now, some states are continuing to review fraud claims, but so far, none have reported widespread fraud. Nowhere near 2.4 million. There's 8 that's so far found. 8 people. Widespread? No. In fact, here's the thing. I want to show this clip of Jake Tapper because it's because we're actually starting to see people that are supposedly journalists start to actually do their jobs. Now, it's a little late, but it's better than nothing. And he actually talks about this, and I want to show you that clip.
President Trump is claiming, and the White House is reaffirming, the fiction that millions of illegal votes were cast in the 2016 election. It is empirically a stunning allegation for which the White House is providing no evidence. And there is a reason they are providing no evidence. There is no evidence. It is not true. Moments ago, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer acknowledged that the president believes 3 to 5 million votes were illegally cast in November. It was interesting what Mr. Spicer did not say. He did not say that he shared the belief, even after he was asked. Now, why would that be? Perhaps because there's zero evidence of widespread voter fraud in the 2016 election. Now, has there ever been voter fraud? Any instances? Yes. Massive voter fraud? 3 to 5 million votes cast illegally in 2016? No. It's simply not true. In fact, if there were even a fraction of the voter fraud that President Trump is alleging, he would be derelict not to order a major investigation. It would likely require a vast conspiracy involving public officials all over the country and would likely have had far-reaching impact in other contests, tainting races down the ballot, not just the presidential race. If President Trump's beliefs are true, Republican leaders in Congress should be holding hearings and trumpeting this injustice every single day. His Justice Department, his Department of Homeland Security, all of them would need to crack down immediately. Unless, of course, it's not even remotely true, which is, of course, the case.
Look, man, I do not know where they've been hiding Jake Tapper's balls the whole time for the last 8 years, but man, it's good to see them back, because that was actually awesome. I love that. But look, on the substance, there's no evidence, but that has not stopped Republican politicians before. And it's actually not surprising to me to see so many of them buying into this. In fact, they do live in a world of alternative facts. And the great thing about alternative facts is that you don't need evidence to back them up. Even so, there are Republican politicians that are looking at Donald Trump and saying, what are you doing? What do you do? No, there are no facts. They're actually right. The liberals are right. There are no facts. In fact, you have former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, who said he was not sure why Trump is focusing on it. And Paul Ryan, House Speaker Paul Ryan, said, quote, he hadn't seen any evidence to support Donald Trump's numbers. And here's Lindsey Graham going further, saying that such a claim by the President of the United States was undermining faith in American democracy. Wow. Where did these are they handing out backbones on the Senate floor? In the Congress? Is that what they're doing? Are they sitting there in the box in Washington, D.C.? Hey, pick up your spine. You can have it back now. Where's this coming from? Or maybe they've gotten to the point where some of the claims are so absurd that they just like, okay, I can't go along with this. This is incredibly ridiculous. There's no way I can back this. I'm going to have to go against it. Maybe. But to Mike Huckabee's question of why he was focusing on this, well, it's ego. He simply can't stand the idea of losing the popular vote by 3 million. Remember, this guy is incredibly insecure. This whole thing is about Donald Trump's ego. It's not about voter fraud. It's not about voter integrity. It's about my ego. I can't stand losing. I can't stand to be a loser. And that's why that exists. That's what this whole thing's about. Remember, his own aides say that they have to keep certain information from him, or else he gets angry and wants to get revenge instead of governing the actual country. Now, Donald Trump is a special little snowflake. He's got to be pulled aside by people to tell him he's wrong, or else it'll hurt their feelings. And this again, he's trying to defend his ego. And here you have Steve King essentially licking his boots. To be fair, Steve King has been hugely anti-immigrant for as long as I can remember, for years. So it actually isn't surprising to see him defend absolute lies that even lack the slightest evidence. No, he's just going to say, I pulled out my calculator and I found that 2.4 million illegals voted. Or it's plausible. It's plausible. Alternative facts, man. We live in a world of alternative facts. But before I wrap this up, I do want to give some credit to Jake Tapper. And also that other person, what was it? Her name was Hallie Jackson. Because there's part of an interview that you didn't actually see where she was like, there's nothing to back that up. Why are you asserting this? There's nothing to back this up. It's been shown to be false. Got to give them credit for actually doing some journalism. Hey, I love it when you do pushback. You need to do more of it. In fact, why weren't you doing it for the last 8 years? It would have been nice to push back not only against Republicans, but Democrats as well. Because I like it when our media actually asks tough questions of everyone. But hey, you know what? It's good you're here. You're a little late to the party, but but I'm glad you're here, because we're going to need everyone we can to push back against Donald Trump and his administration's many, many lies. Many, many lies. He has the best lies. They're tremendous lies. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.